Greetings and salutations to all of you, and welcome! I am Ra Zim. This is Rooms and Reptiles, Dungeons and Dragons. It is good to have you all here, and yeah, Dova.
Excellent. So, last we left off, oh yeah, right. Recap. That's the thing. Last time on Rooms and Reptiles, we finished off the weird undead-ish pirates, while the elemental I summoned took out the rest of their ship's crew. Helped Infel grab whatever treasures were in the sinking wreckage before retiring to my quarters. It seems as though Rock has found a strange room while looking for Ayastal, though it seems that he slunked off after he broke through the wall. And I suppose now we continue. Cobalt, in your investigation of the strange vial, you did realize that the contents were some sort of narcotic. In addition, there was the 2 containers recovered from the sinking vessel, the smaller strongbox as well as the larger strongbox, neither of which has been opened at the moment. Currently, the ship is sort of trying to regain its course after it was so rudely interrupted from its travels. The fog is slowly starting to recede, though it is still quite hazy. What are you all doing? As Eric's in your while looking inside the small, almost like a crawl space in between the inner hull and the outer hull. You are currently looking into the room. You see these this small array of paintings set up on a makeshift easel, as well as almost nailed to the wall of the inner hull. In the darkness, you can't really make out the exact details, but it looks very harsh, very sharp strokes. And Infel, we are getting some wind noise from your mic every so often.
Alright. You said I saw Ayastal in there last week.
Indeed. About 20 feet to your right. The small room was to the left. About 20 feet to the right, you saw in the pitch darkness, the faint outline of her metal shell, almost wedged in between this the inner hull and outer hull, almost propped up against one of the supports to either side. You saw her faintly glowing eyes twitching as they stared at you.
Ayastal, what are you doing in here? How did you get in here?
She says nothing, staring at you.
I guess just stay here. I will go get Cobalt, I guess. He doesn't know enough about this kind of stuff to know whether she's okay or not, so... He's gonna go fetch the one that does. Or at least knows more than him.
You didn't seem to see her acknowledge any of what you said. Also, we're still getting that wind noise from you, Infel.
Alright.
Cobalt, where are you right now? Cobalt, if you're trying to say something, you're muted.
Eric's will, of course, go seek out Cobalt and let him know.
Okay. Cobalt.
I think the last thing I did was I got the potion from from the dead guy and then identified it.
Mhm.
And now I guess I'm waiting for info. See what.
Okay. They would both be up on the top deck.
Yes.
And you would find them very easily. What's your passive perception, Eric's?
I have no idea. 18.
All right. Okay. Never mind. So-
Cobalt, something is, I don't know, Iastol is, I'm not sure what she's doing.
Well, as of right now, I don't know what she's doing either.
She's down here if you want to follow me. And we lost Cobalt.
Well,
I
he
guess
went
he
to a
doesn't
different
want
server.
to.
He's following you to a different server, apparently. Back in here.
I just saw him select his character on Fantasygrams, so...
It's like the climax episode, where the instant I say we all disconnect, we disconnect from the Discord server as well because your computer crashed hard. We're Cobalt. That wasn't meant to be. That was meant in character, not in Discord. Cobalt. Cobalt.
Is his mic muted?
Probably.
Cobalt, your mic might be muted.
Can you guys hear?
Yes.
We can hear you now.
Okay, good. Catch anything that I said at all?
No.
Okay, Fantasy Grounds is making my computer run really slow, and I'm pretty sure it almost crashed.
Nice.
Anyway,
Cool.
I said,
Background programs. You might be running out of RAM.
I mean, the only background program I have is one page of Google Chrome. Anyway,
Google Chrome sucks up RAM like you wouldn't believe.
I know, and I've been using Firefox. Firefox, was literally not for the longest time.
As long as you don't have too many tabs open. The problem is that it has its own little process thing per tab. Which is, I mean, it's a security feature, really, because it means that they don't really get to... like, if you go to a shady site on one tab, it can't... some browsers, they can actually go over and grab your information from, say, PayPal in another tab. Chrome has those security features, just means it's a bit more, resource heavy.
I don't understand how people survive with 20 tabs open all the time. Dova, are you one of those people? 'Cause I feel like I might remember that.
I have 4 tabs open right now.
I've got a few tabs open. 2 of them are other streamers that I'm...
16 gigabytes of RAM. Anyways, let's continue with the game.
Okay, so Cobalt's gonna. Eric's just said for him to follow.
Yes.
Yes, Cobalt's gonna say, but I was gonna, and then he looks back and forth between NFL and he just goes, all right, fine, and follows Eric.
Eric's.
I would lead the way.
As
And
you guys make your way back
point
down
around.
to the rather large hole in the side of the inner hull, you kind of poke your head back in, Eric's, and you look to the left. The paintings are still there, but you look to the right and see that Iastol is no longer there. You do see some pretty deep claw marks on the inside of the hull, though. Not on the. It's still within the sort of crawl space. They seem to be leading downwards and towards the front of the ship, towards the right, as it were.
Carefully, I will climb in and motion for Kobold to follow. And follow the claw marks.
All right. As you start to make your way down inside the crawl space, the intense darkness leads you to lose a lot of the detail in your sight, only seeing fairly vague shapes. And well, the shapes are rather well defined, but colors and motion have been somewhat muted. And as you kind of track the claw marks, they eventually do stop as you continue to clamber downwards. You eventually do come to a portion probably near the waterline, where a sizable amount of water has built up within the inner hull, acting as some sort of ballast, you know. The claw marks seem to go under this water level and seem to continue onwards in the same direction, possibly going under the boat.
Kobold's gonna pull out a flame torch and give one to Eric's as well.
All right.
Pull out a what?
A flameless torch.
Oh. Didn't know you had those.
I had 5 of them.
Yep, from the beholder place.
That long
As you,
ago?
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
As you retrieve it and twist on the bottom, there's a crackling noise as a small orb of bluish energy sparks forth, illuminating the interior of this small crawl space. And you see much more clearly that the claw marks do lead into the rather dirty and dark water.
Great, Kobold. You went and haunted our ship.
Did with what?
You brought Iastol back so she could haunt it.
But she has a physical form, so she's not a ghost.
You don't have to be a ghost to haunt somewhere.
Yes, you do.
Nope.
The ship creaks and groans around you. The water level continuously sort of bobbing up and down as the ship sways slightly in the waves.
There are some spells I wish I had right now.
Okay, so from my knowledge of boats at this point, do I know if this is a problem or no?
No, this is normal. Having ballast like this keeps the ship upright and helps to adjust the water line of the ship should you want to do that.
By the way, guys, if my internet does cut out, I'm sorry. We'll come back as soon as I can, but it does seem to be having some problems at the moment.
I can prove we're not. I can prove we're not haunted, and I pull out the ghost candle.
Where did you get a ghost candle? What is a ghost candle?
It detects ghosts. If it lights up, then that means it's a ghost.
There are no ghosts, it seems.
Put the candle away, and I puff my chest out proudly.
Well, I don't know if we want to follow her down there, or if we just want to leave her be for now.
Well, I don't have any items that would help me. There's a spell that I would love to use in this, but I can't.
There's a spell you would love to use, but
I can't. I don't have it.
oh. I guess we'll just go ahead and...
Hey, Dova, you said the water was dark and murky, right?
Yes.
And I'm guessing I can't see through it.
Not for very far, maybe only a few inches, which you can see to confirm that the claws do, the sort of claw marks do continue into it.
All right. Well, is this like a really big, deep thing here?
No, the actual crawl space, it's sort of a separation between the outer hull and the inner hull. It's maybe 2.5 feet wide at any point, and scattered throughout at carefully planned positions, Eric's, are rather thick support beams. Sometimes a series of them kind of stacked up to make sure that the actual outer hull is rigid.
And this all looks normal, nothing terribly out of the ordinary.
Nothing terribly out of the ordinary, aside from the claw marks and, the tiny art room.
I'm, of course,
Okay, so-
grumbling over the claw marks on my ship. But that's beside the point.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stick my torch in the water and see if I can get a little more viewing. What's it called? Visibility.
Okay. Placing the torch in the water, it remains lit and sort of lights up the water with this translucent blue glow that almost travels a lot further than the light seemed to have traveled in air, bringing this almost a spectral glow to the murky water. You do see, maybe a few feet in, you do see kind of the telltale mark of some claw marks that continue further downwards. But you don't happen to see anything else other than that.
All right. Well, how about this? I will send not rations in fish form,
Okay.
and I'm gonna use Mage Hand to kind of carry a torch as far as I.
So use the mage hand to kind of push the torch as far in with the fish following.
I mean, I can hold it,
Okay.
like as can carry the torch. But I'm gonna have not rations tell me when he finds something. Obviously finds it in a stall, a stall.
Okay. So you're basically just gonna have him.
Confirm that she's under there.
Okay. Sending your silver metallic fish into the murky water. It basically starts to head downwards, following those claw marks whenever it can actually see them. Eventually, it does come to a gap in the keel, where very, very large support beams anchor the bottom of the ship to the inner hull. There are small gaps between them, as well as a few decent-sized ones. It seems that the claw marks continue down, under, and back up onto dry land. Although, from what Not Rations can tell, once it goes back onto dry land, it seems to disappear from the outer hull.
Dry land meaning
Um,
the inside of it.
The opposite side of where you are.
Okay, can you turn into like a rat and keep going?
Yeah. But there would not be any clear trail to follow. Go ahead and roll an investigation check for Not Rations.
Using my stats?
Does Not Rations have stats as a rat? If so, go ahead and use those.
I mean, you would have the stats as well. I mean, I don't know what. I gotta go find what I'm trying to.
Okay, I'll look. With a -4.
Figures.
Actually, it might use your stats.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead with your stats.
I mean, it's not like I have a
Since you'd
huge...
be kind of directly controlling it at this point.
It's not like I have a massive bonus anyway.
Mhm.
I'm gonna use. That's not better.
I remember you did not rest since combat, so
Yeah, I still have 1 point.
gotcha. Um,
I mean, it's not like
unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately, Narashins wasn't able to spot any signs that of where Ayastal went or seeing Ayastal herself.
Wait, do rats have advantage on perception checks for like smelling and stuff?
For smelling, yes.
Can I try that?
You've already had with the rat stats then, and that's
Okay.
with perception, not investigation.
Yeah. So.
So yeah, go ahead and roll once with advantage with the
With
rat
a-
stats. So +0.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. Hey, that's better.
It's pretty good.
Not Rations does pick up on the scent of one of the binding agents that you use in the construction of Ayastal. She's somewhere in the inner hull on this side of the ship, though Not Rations wasn't able to find out where. Likely higher up, as Not Rations wasn't able to climb up any further than maybe the second deck. The same
there-
deck is where you entered into this interior space from.
Would Eric and I be able to climb up?
You can certainly try. The
Alright.
hull at which you were climbing up had a decent amount of supports, as well as a slope that you're able to kind of dig your claws into and climb up. But past that, it's almost a vertical climb with the support structure not as dense.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to. If I use not ration senses, can I tell exactly where I would need to teleport to?
You could teleport directly to Not Rations.
Great. I'm gonna use dimension door and take it.
What's the distance on that?
500.
That would do it.
And
Eric's.
dimension door usually does.
Cobalt grabs onto your arm. Do you consider yourself willing?
I'm suspicious, but willing, yes.
Alright. Both of you give me a acrobatics check.
I got an 11. Not much better.
As both of you teleport to the opposite side of the interior hull's crawl space, immediately tumbling down the side of the outer hull, as there were really no support beams at where Not Rations was, as Not Rations was kind of clinging to the side of one of the support beams. Cobalt, you don't go as far down as you kind of plopped onto a different support beam, but Eric's, you pretty much slid all the way down into the water on the other side.
I will try and scramble back up.
All right. Now that you actually have your bearings, you can basically scramble up all the way to Cobalt without much trouble.
Can't you just wild shape into a spider or something?
I am not
Oh no!
ever going to become a spider.
You use both your wild shapes to turn Kale into an element.
And yeah, that too.
Mind that. Thanks, Druid. Moon,
Hey!
supposedly. Are you sure that Kale isn't the Druid of the Moon here?
Just because I infuse my magic into him doesn't mean that I'm not a druid.
Alright, so, it's the easiest way up here.
The structure is like that on the other side, with a few support structures sort of intermittently going between the inner hull to the outer hull.
Alright, I guess I will try to attempt to climb it, following where Not Rations supposes I stall my.
Go ahead and give me an athletics check, just to
Hooray.
pull yourself up.
I was hoping you'd ask that. That turned out better than I thought it would.
With a lot of scrambling, scratching, and just using a lot of assistance from your mage hand to try to pull yourself up, you eventually do haul yourself up onto the support beam that not rations is leisurely relaxing on. Info.
Right.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Well, since I wasn't taken along, I suppose I'm busy with these safe boxes and
Alright.
trying to figure out how to open them.
Both of them are rather sturdy. You're not quite sure how to sort of pick the locks, but with enough force, you reckon you might be able to just pry them open. Which one are you going to try to open first? And in what way?
I'm probably gonna try and open the one I didn't find in the captain's quarters first. And
Alright.
since they appear to be locks that need to be picked, and I don't have a key, nor am I particularly proficient when it comes to lock picking, I suppose I will just try and pry it open. But first, I'll go around and ask the kobolds if they have a pry bar.
After looking around and asking around whichever kobolds were on duty and off duty, you eventually do source a pry bar. Although the kobold was adamant that you return it once you were done with it.
All right.
It was, and I quote, his. But yeah, you do manage to find one. So go ahead and roll a, we'll go strength check with advantage.
Oh, okay. Straight strength.
16, I'd say that's enough. As you wedge the pry bar into the very small gap, you eventually manage to kind of weasel it in a bit more and really put your weight down on it. After it slips once, you basically manage to slam your hand on the deck fairly hard and bruise your fingers. But as you kind of shake it off and go at it one more time, it eventually groans open. Get the pry bar in more and finish the job, eventually popping it open.
Okay.
Inside, you see a small collection of coins and gems. The gems seem to be rather worthless, basically shiny rocks that whoever owned this put in there. But the coins themselves are somewhat valuable. In fact, there's... let me get the inventory sheet out. That's not it. Okay, there it is. There are, in fact, 21 platinum pieces, 6 electrum pieces, which seem to be very, very well polished, and 40 copper pieces.
Not bad. I suppose I'll gather up the kobolds and start passing out these shiny rocks.
All right.
From my experience, or from what I've observed, I assume these are their favorites.
And in your experience with passing them out, they definitely seem to be. And as you're kind of digging through it, you eventually do notice that at the very bottom there is a very single, or there's a very tarnished single gold coin at the bottom.
I suppose I'll take that and give it a look around, try and wipe it off a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It seems to be a mundane gold coin, except very filthy.
I'll have to get this cleaned before I used it. I'll ask if there's a I'll ask if there's a ship strong box where we keep the not owned money.
All right. There doesn't seem to be a strong consensus of where loot goes, but eventually you figure out that on the cart there's a crate where all the kobolds see the leading kobolds throw very valuable things very often.
Well, okay. I guess I'll put the money in there.
All right. So that's going to go to the
Shrek.
yes. Eric's, if you can look at the character sheet and get that all figured out.
Absolutely. How much
Bring
was
this-
it?
You have it
22
open?
shiny platinum pieces.
21
And-
actually.
Oh, 21?
Yes, 21 platinum pieces. A single, now somewhat clean gold piece. 6 electrum pieces. And 40 copper pieces.
That's all that's in that one?
Well, there were rocks, but I passed them out.
Indeed.
Alright,
Now
I'll
I-
get them added.
Alright.
Now I'll see if I can get this other box open.
Go ahead and roll strength with advantage again, since you do have that pry bar.
Okay.
A bit better. This one seems to be about the same quality, but it is larger, so there's a lot more places to kind of go at it. And eventually going through the same process, this time, you keep your fingers out of the way, but it slips again and slams directly onto one of your toes. And through your anger, you eventually manage to pop this one open as well. And as the very squeaky hinges kind of creak open, you see it's a segmented container, almost like a wine crate, with about 20 small vials of some sort of liquid in it. As you kind of pull each bottle out to look at it, it seems to be a very dark, almost black liquid. The vials themselves only about as big as your finger.
Interesting. And how are they contained? With a cork, a stopper?
Wax, sort of sealing it all up, it seems.
And is there a labeling of some kind?
None. There is a small seal, however, engraved, or not engraved, but pressed into the wax on the top. It's a single picture of, or it's a depiction of a fish and a cleaver.
A fish and a what?
Like a butcher's knife?
Oh.
Yes. And in most cases, Eric's, yes, when you're actually buying things. Although that does not go for Electrum, as it's not normally accepted in most places.
Basically, my question is, can I convert these 13,000 copper pieces into platinum?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's a lot of copper pieces.
I know.
Well, this seems like a symbol I've never...
Go ahead and roll history, actually.
Okay. Oh,
Very
I do know
nice.
it.
So, while you were working in Baldur's Gate, you heard on the streets, sort of in just rumors and gossip that was spread around, almost basically bar talk. You've sort of heard of this symbol before. It's the symbol of a very shadowy organization somewhere near Neverwinter. You're not. Nobody's quite sure of what they do, but that they have their fingers in quite a few places. Nobody really knows who runs it, what their end goal is besides money, as all criminal organizations do. And yeah, that's really about it that people know, that what you know about it.
Huh. So this, whatever it is probably very illegal.
That is indeed a very reasonable assumption.
Huh. I'll look over the edge of the boat and ponder.
It's a mighty good idea. You do notice that a few of the vials are missing, very haphazardly taken out. It doesn't seem that there's any real rhyme or reason as to why half the slots are empty at the moment. But yeah, that's about all you notice with that. There's no particular engravings on the inside. It seems to have been rather well kept. There are bits of blood on the outside that seem to have kind of soaked into the wood.
How many vials are in here out of how many slots?
21, as opposed to the 40 slots that were built into it.
I'll ponder. Did this make those coasts? Question mark?
You're not quite sure.
No. But maybe.
Hmm.
Infel will ponder if he should just get rid of this now, but dumping in the water might also be very bad.
What will you do to the water elemental? Which is still in the water, by the way.
Christ. What would I do to those innocent fish? He looks very cross. He has no safe way of disposing this.
As you continue to think about that and mull over your options, Rock, what are you doing?
Why don't you just come over here and drink one of these? See what happens.
For the
I'll
end
get
of the
back to you on that one.
He didn't say no.
So after not finding Ayastal in that mystery art room, he would have just shrugged, and he would have went back to the top of the ship and climbed to the top of the crow to keep a lookout.
Okay.
And he would have had Sora use legend lore on that boat
Okay.
as he's looking around.
I'll write up a small piece for you in the in Discord regarding that.
Yeah, sure.
What are you guys inside the hull doing?
Do we see the trail of Iostal?
Go ahead and roll investigation.
One moment, sorry. Converting all this. There we go. Hello.
Sorry.
Okay.
Continuing to look around and just trying to find any sign of where she's gone. You can't find any, unfortunately. There's quite a few places where she could have gone, and with the path ending just above the water, you're not quite sure where she is right now.
Well,
Dang it.
Kobold, you mind getting us back into the main part of the ship?
All right. And a dimension door back.
With a rather hearty thump, you guys both arrive basically a few meters away from where you entered into the interior of the hull. The rather gaping hole that was made by Rock's axe.
I'm gonna start mending.
All right.
Let's leave this open for now. I'd rather not have Rock go smashing more holes in the ship, so might
You want
as well just
Rock
leave
to
it.
smash more holes in the ship?
I do not want him to.
Okay,
The,
you'll
the
be sure to get
scales,
rid
the scales raise up on the back of your neck on the crow's nest as you're called to destruction.
Yes.
No.
Where there's smashing, there is Rock.
So Dova.
Yeah?
A message says that if I know where they, like, general area where they are, I can point to them and cast a spell, and that it doesn't have to be a straight line. It can go through, like, around corners and through things like that, through holes and stuff,
Yes.
and it can go through 3 feet of wood total. So, like, you think I would still be able to message Iastall?
Certainly could try.
All right, I'm gonna message her and say, you can come talk to me whenever you need.
Give me an Arcana check.
Okay. I need a lucky. Better. That one was worth it.
There's a very faint, almost a ringing noise as you sense that she's received it. You can't exactly tell where she is to have received it.
That's fine. I didn't... I'm gonna get some food now.
All right.
Not IRL. I'll want it.
Okay. Yeah. As Eric's goes back up, returning to his captainly duties, Rock, you basically just hear him barking out orders and getting kobolds to do various things to get back underway.
I look over the edge expectingly for him to point at something for me to smash.
That sadly doesn't come.
Rock is disappointed.
I suppose I'll go down and see if I can find them.
All right. You do know Rex and Rock are on the main deck. As you are walking down, you do notice that Cobalt is heading in towards the cart. As you're walking past, you realize that there is a rather large hole in the hull, just in the wall, leading into some sort of crawl space.
Huh. Hey, guys, I opened up the safes, if you're interested. There was some money in one, and files of unknown substance in the other, likely belonging to a very criminal organization.
Cobalt's ears are gonna perk up when he hears the mysterious substances. And then he says, "Okay, let me identify him." Like now he's excited. There's a mystery on his hand.
Oh, you can do that. That would be helpful.
And I'm gonna sit and identify them right there.
As you sort of reach in and pull it out, you realize it is stunningly familiar to the stuff you had in that even smaller vial. In fact, wouldn't be a far stretch to say that this is the exact same stuff, but just in larger containers.
It's that living armor liquid, isn't it?
No, it's like narcotic stuff.
Oh,
Kobold's getting kind of be disappointed, saying, "Oh, it's the same as the other stuff that I found."
you found this before.
Yeah, on one of
What?
the dead guys. Pull out the vial and
Pulls out a small, extremely small vial, even in Cobalt's hands, of that same black liquid.
Goodness gracious.
he's gonna hand them back to Infel.
So this is a narcotic?
I think so. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what it is. But that's the best I got from.
And
Could have other dangerous side effects, but I don't know.
alright. What should we do with this?
Hey, Dova, do I see this going on?
Yeah, you kind of looking down every so often, you see them kind of huddled around an open box with what looks to be bottles of some sort.
Okay, I'm gonna message it for you real quick.
Okay.
Kobold's gonna say, "I'm not very good with alchemy. It might be best to take it to Raku." First.
Raku, meanwhile, is. It seems that he's slinked off into the mansion.
I can take him to him at least, and then I'm gonna close it up and start heading toward the cart.
One moment on that. The case.
Okay, so it would be the same thing.
Probably.
Okay.
Okay.
We're back. Everybody
Rock's gonna
can-
jump down from the crow's nest and rush over to grab those vials.
Could you give me an acrobatics check?
Yes, I can.
Crow's nest is
Craft
very high up.
acrobatics?
There is a ladder.
Yeah.
There's like a rope ladder leading down the side.
Yeah, he's gonna do one of those like fireman ladder things. He just goes down like the sides to go down
Okay.
as fast as he can.
Can you guys hear
that
me?
probably wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
So
That wouldn't be an issue as you hear as Cobalt as you kind of pick it up. It's rather heavy, but you kind of steel yourself and eventually pick it up to bring it down to Raku. As you hear a strange sound of Rock, one of your pieces of armor, it kind of sticks out like your chest piece. It sticks out a little bit, and your arms aren't quite long enough to get yourself enough clearance from the ladder. So as you come down, there's a repeating clanging sound as each wooden rung smacks against that piece of armor. As you all kind of pause and turn to see about 130 pounds of very dense plate metal slam into the deck as Rock has arrived. Dynamic entry.
At this point, his intentions are pretty obvious, I'd say. Considering what we're dealing with right now.
yeah, he's as soon as he hits the ground, he is hauling ass to grab that box.
Alright, Dova. I can
A
have one
box full of
reaction to this.
narcotics or something else.
I'm
You-
going to.
Go ahead.
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
I said I was going to cast Banishment on him, and I'm even use my inspiration to give him disadvantage on saving throw.
Oof.
Sure.
All right.
What
That
level
is
is
a
banishment? It-
4.
Okay, yeah, that is a charisma saving throw. DC?
14.
Alright. And yes, with this disadvantage, rock.
There you go.
And I'm gonna use my Indomitable to re-roll that.
I thought that was only Constitution.
No, that's any saving throw.
Any saving throw. Do I roll it with disadvantage or just roll it again?
With disadvantage still.
Oh,
Oh,
beautiful.
Oh,
There you
good
go.
lord.
Oof.
So, rock. You're focused almost tunnel visioning on this crate, and as you reach out and start to bring your hands around it, you feel an odd shifting sensation as your arms close around nothing but air. You're confused as you kind of start to look around you and realize that you're basically on a salt flat. You have no idea how you got here. And while not particularly unpleasant, you are somewhat disappointed.
He's blowing Eldritch blasts just raging in the air.
Cole's just kind of mumbled to himself. Next time, you might want to try a sneakier approach like like Raku would.
Rock.
Well, obviously Rockrock can't hear him, but he's just saying it to himself.
Mhm.
And then I'm gonna use Liam's secret chest I'm gonna put the potions in it, and then put it in the ethereal plane.
How long does Banish last?
A minute.
What about Liamin's secret chest?
Since I already cast it, I just need to touch the little treasure that I have.
Okay.
And the chest appears.
And to
Intel seems
dispel it
slightly
again.
concerned that Rock vanished.
And I did mention that I cleaned out pretty much everything in there except for the deck of many things.
Okay.
I'm gonna a shiver's gonna go down Cobalt's spine when he sees it, but he's just gonna pay it no mind.
Was that cards?
It does seem to be a very fancy deck of cards in there, Infel.
And I close the chest before he can say anything else.
What? They're just cards.
They're the worst kind of cards.
Best kind of cards.
Alright,
Well, perhaps it's a modified deck.
so it's in the ethereal plane now with the potions in it. And I don't know, I guess I'll just start heading toward the mansion.
Alright. Eventually you do. There's a very strong wind blows through the salt flats that you're in. And with that wind, you eventually find yourself back on the deck of the Pending. Is what?
Is Cobalt still there?
Looking around, you would not see him.
Who's on the deck with me?
Infel currently looking very surprised.
I'm looking at him with pure rage in his eyes, and he's gonna say, "Handbag, where did the child go?"
He probably went back inside the wagon. What's up?
He's rushing off.
You know what? I better follow him to make sure murder doesn't happen.
You eventually would actually catch up to him. as he's on the cargo deck heading towards the mansion. As you guys do walk past the hole in the wall again.
He's just be well, and he's gonna tackle him.
What's your passive perception, Cobalt?
It is a whopping 9.
It's whopping. Could you give me a
Although-
stealth check with disadvantage?
I was about to say, although I don't, he doesn't really need to. I don't
Yeah,
really
he's
need
not
high
being
perception.
Is that being subtle?
not
Yeah,
being
you
subtle.
would definitely hear it. He's about maybe 20 feet away from you as you would hear him coming.
All
I'd
right.
say you might have time for one reaction as he is coming quite fast at you.
Dang it, I don't have far. I guess I'll cast Blink.
As a very panicked kobold starts to shimmer and shift in midair.
Oh, well, not this turn.
Alright?
Well, actually, I can still. No, I can't. Continue.
Okay. Go ahead and roll an athletics check. Rock.
Oh, surprise.
So you can either roll acrobatics or athletics, Cobalt.
I don't think I can. I mean, if I'm trying to roll higher than him, it's not possible.
That's true. As you basically just brace yourself for the incoming tackle as Rock leaps across the deck, basically knocking to the ground, rolling around a few times, but eventually remaining on top, almost straddling you, holding you down quite strongly.
He's just say, "Hi, Rock."
Rock's got his hand on Kobold's throat with his axe next to his face, and he's gonna say to him, where's the box, child? That is not for you.
And Cobalt says, "It's a good thing I didn't drink it," and then he disappears.
Go ahead and mark off that. Actually, does Blink require... What sort of some components does Blink require?
Verbal and somatic.
Well, and somatic,
And like I already cast it before he.
Oh, okay.
Remember that was my one reaction.
Yeah. Cobalt would kind of disappear from under you. Your fist eventually, or your fist kind of phasing through and slamming into the wood behind him.
He's gonna slam his axe into the floor.
They can only reappear 10 feet away. I'm gonna reappear and say, "That's not very nice of you.
Give
I didn't do
to
anything
me
wrong."
now.
I'm gonna let Raku examine it because I'm not very good with.
The last word you said, Cobalt, cut out.
Oh, I said I'm not very good with.
It cut out again.
I'm not very good with potions.
Jesus Christ. The last
So
half of
what?
that last word cut off. Potions, yes. Gotta follow through with your push to talk.
It's not push to talk.
How does that even work?
My mic just cuts out, I guess. It's not fair. I try so hard.
Got so far.
In the end,
He's-
it didn't even matter.
No, it didn't.
Anyways,
he's gonna stand up, and slowly, methodically walk towards Kobold and tell him, "Give me the box. This is your last warning."
Well, okay, but tell me what they are.
He's gonna look him dead in the eyes, and he's gonna say, "That is the reason for that ship being that way. Give it to me now."
Hmm. What are you gonna do with it? I mean,
Why?
I feel like if it's that dangerous, then it'd be very hard to dispose of.
He's just has his hand stretched out for the box.
Hmm.
Kobold, while it's good to ask questions, it's also good to realize when someone is being very serious about this.
I
Rock
understand.
clearly has strong feelings about these potions.
Rockart has strong a lot of things. However, his mental state is not one of them, so I'm concerned about giving him something so dangerous. But I suppose I can trust him. I've been with him this long so far, and he's gonna bring out the Liam
All right.
and then give him the strong box. Just as long as you're careful with it. If it's this dangerous, then you know it can end really badly.
He's gonna take the box and put a hand on Kobold and say, "I will not let my family be harmed," and take the box up to the top of the deck.
It's gonna rub the sword shoulder that was.
Sorry, you cut off again.
Oh, what's gonna rub the sore shoulder that was harmed when he tackled?
Outside of him.
Okay.
Uh,
And then Cobalt's gonna send the chest back and go get some food like you originally intended.
All right.
Also phasing in and out of his while he's doing that because Blink isn't actually concentration spell, so
Indeed.
there's no real way to get rid of it easily.
As you actually forget. Oh, wait, no. As
Oh,
you remember to stop moving during the blink, as you're still not used to the whole ship motion thing in another
Like-
dimension yet.
like I'm in the middle of a conversation with Rock and I disappear for like 6 seconds before coming back.
10 feet away, of course.
But yeah, eventually it runs out and I go get some food. Feeling Italian.
Italian? Okay. Making your way inside the mansion, the lunch for today is a rather light sort of seafood-based pasta. Almost like a paella, except with noodles.
Seafood Alfredo is actually my favorite like ever.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I have not actually had paella before. I should.
I've not had good paella.
I don't know if I told you guys this yet, but I ended up moving back to Maryland because I lived in St. Louis for almost a year, the past few months, and finally had good food again recently, and it was amazing.
Ooh,
It was like the best feeling.
I'm jealous.
There was no way to get good seafood anywhere in St. Louis.
Mhm.
Sad.
I feel you. I feel you so fucking hard.
It was like coming home.
One thing I really miss about living in Ohio is
The
going
potatoes?
out to one of the local churches like every Friday in a certain time frame. I don't remember when it was, but they would have fish fries.
Oh hell
All
yes.
you
Ooh.
can eat fish
Sunfish?
that was just I don't remember the kind of fish. I want to say tilapia. I don't know. But
Tilapia is usually a popular white fish.
Fairly cheap.
it was fried. They served it with fries and all you can eat. Plenty of everything.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
it
Sounds
was
good.
So good.
I had a crab cake, and that was my first time. That was my first seafood meal back, and it was amazing.
Crab cakes are freaking awesome.
Yes, they are.
All right, we shall continue with the seafood lunch. All right. Anyways, Rock, you head up, dragging the case behind you.
Does he need to drag it?
Not actually.
He can probably carry it with like 2 fingers.
He's got the strength of 1,000 mini lizards.
Indeed.
So
I have the strength of 100 ants.
So Rock went to his room, right?
no, he's at the top of the ship.
Yes.
Oh,
He's heading out to the main deck.
I suppose I'm just gonna keep following him.
Does the ship have like life rafts?
It does. It has those longboats that were installed while you were back in port.
He's gonna take one of those down.
All right.
Rock, are you going to dump these out at sea?
He doesn't answer on the boat and try to get as far away from the ship as possible.
All right. Go ahead. Do you have any naval experience whatsoever?
He not on like big oceans. Like he's done like boats on rivers.
Okay. Then I'd say you'd manage to.
Eric's would stop him if he notices.
You would definitely notice.
Yeah, he'd go up and just kind of like, what are you doing?
I think he's going to dump the narcotics into the sea.
What narcotics?
Oh, I assumed you were present once we, Kobold went back to the box I opened and we found out it's full of narcotics owned by a criminal organization. 21 vials of it, in fact.
And where are you planning on dumping this in the water around here?
Well, Rock followed Kobold, took the box, and now he's getting on that boat. And leaving.
No, he's not.
I
will
mean, he is
find
actively
somewhere-
doing this.
And like I said, I'd be going up to stop him.
He's gonna look to you, and just say, "Trust me," as he's lowering the boat.
I'm not trusting you with one of my boats.
Good thing they tried to stop
At
you.
least
You almost had to-
take one of the sailors with you.
almost had to roll your water elemental fighting skill.
Surely there's a safer way to get rid of these, like, I don't know,
He's
burning him?
not risking it.
So you're gonna dump them in the water.
Just watch as he's like, or he continues lowering the boat. He's not stopping.
Well, I'll go with him, I guess.
I'm gonna wave over one of the, sailors and have them go with Rock.
All right.
Because, well, they're more likely to get him there, wherever he's going, and back in one piece.
Well, good thing I haven't put my armor back on. I guess I'm just gonna get in the water.
Well, longboats are actually rather large, and they're specifically meant for transporting heavy loads from shore to a boat. Like anchor kind of heavy loads. But that's beside the point. I suppose I'll let him go, but he has to take one of the sailors with him.
Eventually,
Yeah,
the small boat does get underway. Well, not really small boat, but the craft eventually does get underway, lowering down into the water. and setting off with the assistance of 2 of the sailors, which are currently manning the oars. So, where are you intending on heading?
I, if I can, 5 miles away from the ship. Probably not. So probably as far in the distance as I can get.
Let me do some math. All right, you get about as far away as you're comfortable while still keeping the ship in view. You're not exactly sure how to tell or how far you are away, but you reckon maybe 2 miles.
Okay. And who's on the ship? Who's on the boat with me?
2 sailors and Infel.
He's gonna look at them. He's gonna walk up to the 2, chuck them off the boat.
Excuse me?
He's gonna chuck the sailors off the boat, it looks like.
Can you give me 2 athletics checks?
Sure.
Infel, you're here.
Yes. You know, I've been looking at Rock, and I've been looking back at Eric's, and I thought, you know, I think I'll go with my gut on this one and let this happen.
As the sailors are unable to resist as you basically toss them off. About 5 seconds later, they're swam back up to the boat and are looking at you quite angrily while sort of watching what you're doing as they try to climb back in.
I'm gonna stare him down. Can I do an intimidation check?
Eric's would have been watching this whole thing.
Give me a perception check without disadvantage, since you do have a spyglass. The ship does have one. Just from you, Eric's, which is definitely enough to see this happening.
I've got those both set up on the hotkeys at the bottom, so I don't ever remember which one's which. I would immediately start shouting orders and going up to the wheel and turning the boat in that direction.
All right.
That's
As the ship creaks, immediately swerving to one side and heading towards the longboat.
Can I
I'm
do
just
a
gonna
perception check to see if I see them?
Go ahead. 2 miles away. No, it's basically just a speck on the horizon for you.
Okay. Can I do the intimidation for the 2 kobolds?
Yes, they're
sailors.
human sailors.
2 sailors.
two
Yeah.
kobolds.
It's a tiny lizard in a metal bucket.
Both of them start grumbling on how much of an asshole you are as they try to pull themselves back in.
He's just gonna sigh heavily as he walks to the far end of the boat, puts the
Hold on, I'm just gonna see if I can talk them down. Just stay where you are. He's doing something right now.
They seem to basically just hang on to the edge, heads kind of above the wall of the boat, but they're still somewhat angry.
Rock's gonna cast Unseen Servant.
Very well. As
Go ahead.
the sun, which has been revealed from the heavy overcast, casts fairly I can't think of the word right now. Fairly sharp shadows. And as you feel this this energy flow through you, Rock, you notice that your shadow seems to almost gain volume and sit beside you on the plank that serves as your seat.
I'm going to look at the box and blast the living hell out of it with Eldritch Blast to the point where there's nothing there. But I'm doing it on the other side of the, as far side of the boat. But before I do, I'm gonna look at Infel and go, handbag, get in the water and move them away. As I'm charging up in Eldritch Blast.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna get in the water, grab the two sailors, and swim.
All right. What's the unseen servant for?
As they get off the boat, he's going to tell the unseen servant to stay here and make sure everything is dissipated for 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yep. Or
Unseen servant lasts for an hour, correct?
for an hour. Yep.
As you start to use your Eldritch Blast to tear apart the strong box, it takes a few blasts for it to get through the surface, but you eventually do, and you're rewarded with a spray of fine black mist. Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw with disadvantage.
All right. He'll keep doing it until like there's a hole in the bottom of the ship too.
Wait, are you trying to shoot it off into the water or just?
No, it's in the boat, and he's blasting it in the boat into oblivion.
Yeah, you can do that from a lot safer distance rather than right on it.
He wasn't going to risk it. He wanted to see this for himself.
But he'd risk himself.
Yes, he is.
He's not the brightest.
This is more of a wisdom.
It's a gray area for him.
Okay, so, as you continue to blast into it, more and more of this black mist shoots out. You feel a strange energy within your limbs, almost egging you to continue onwards. You're basically going to continue blasting at this box for as long as you remain conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Infel, the sailors, seeing how Rock is basically blasting the ever-living fuck out of whatever he brought out there, are going to sort of grab onto you a bit harder, sort of aiding in swimming away and almost in the direction of the ship.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get them back to the ship. Actually, no, I'm gonna do something else. I'm going to cast Find Steed in the water.
How long is the casting time for that?
10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean,
you wouldn't be able to carry them both at the same time since it would require somatic components, correct?
oh yeah, it does. I just thought it didn't require material components.
It
No.
doesn't require material components, but you're not exactly in a position to be casting a spell for 10 minutes.
Fair enough. Well, I guess I better just get them back to the ship and then hustle on back.
All right. After about maybe 10 more minutes of swimming, you eventually do make it to the ship, which has covered about half the distance from its current position to this new position. So there's now about a mile between the boat and the ship. as
Do I, s-
as all three of you begin to clamber aboard.
do I swim faster than the ship?
Yeah, actually.
All right, better get back in the water and get back to Rock Rock.
You're
Make
not.
sure he's not sank yet.
Yeah, you're not that much faster than the ship, but you are indeed somewhat faster.
Hmm.
Rock, meanwhile,
Hmm.
in a feverish rage, you're continuing to blast at this box, and you notice that there's quite a bit of liquid inside this box now. The bottom's nearly completely blown out, but now there's this clear liquid, almost materializing from somewhere. And in your almost anger and fury-soaked mind, you're unable to really comprehend where it's coming from. Go ahead and take 25 points of necrotic damage. So that reduces your max HP for the time being.
We didn't have a short rest before those battles, did we?
No.
You did not.
Okay, just because I had 6 before, so I just wanted to make sure.
All right.
And how much is it reduced by?
The same amount, so 25.
25. I'll just put that in temp.
yeah.
And
That's a good idea. Put your current max HP in your temp HP.
mhm. Just so I can keep track of it.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a feverish rage, he's just going to keep blasting and blasting.
All right. Go ahead and make another Constitution saving throw with disadvantage, Rock. All right. That's another fail.
Those numbers look familiar.
Hell yeah.
Rock, he's only a danger to himself
And the boat.
and the boat.
As you feel that your feet are now wet for some reason, which makes you even angrier.
It's gonna blast the bottom.
All right. The boat starts to scream at you, almost in a mocking display of confidence.
He's gonna scream back again and blast it again. Yell unintelligible draconic at it.
What's everybody's passive perception? In specific, actually, Cobalt, you wouldn't hear this. Eric's and Infel.
18
Mine's
here.
12.
12, 18. Eric's. Rock is just screaming his lungs out at the moment. You catch bits and pieces of Draconic, but it's broken up and basically gibberish.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I am so lost on what's going on with this box and what he's doing. And he just better not be sinking my boat.
Oh, I don't think you're getting that boat back.
Then I guess we're not getting Rock back.
You hear Feral screaming in the background as you say that.
Alright, so. Eventually, Infel, you do make it back to where the boat was.
Okay.
About 2 minutes ago, you saw it start to sink and eventually go under.
Oh, jeez.
Rock, you are unresponsive.
Am I out or
You're so
Like-
stuck in a state of feverish hallucinations that you can't determine reality from anything else at the moment.
Oh, because I was about to say, because if he's still raging, he could be attacked with that wetness.
Mhm.
Bad wetness.
You try to bite at it and almost start to eat it alive, which you think is this wetness all around you, and eventually those
Victorious.
feverish hallucinations start to fade as you swallow quite a bit of water.
He's gonna keep chomping.
All right.
If it
As-
bleeds, we could die.
Eventually, you do make it to the place where the boat was. A few pieces of driftwood are pretty much all that remain, as well as a very faint, oily haze upon the water.
I'll dip under and try and grab Rock and haul him to the surface.
What's your perception?
12.
Going under and basically swimming down for maybe 10 seconds, you do eventually see the it's almost thorny shape of Rock slowly sinking into the abyss. From this distance, and as you get closer, you can see he's twitching. Every so often, there's a brief flare of magical energy within his maw as a small, almost like a lightning bolt, shoots out, maybe only 6 inches out from his mouth. But you can see that his eyes are rolled so far into the back of his head that his eyes are now bloodshot.
Shit. Well, time to haul him up.
All right. With your swimming strength, you don't have very much trouble bringing him back to the vessel, which is now only maybe about a 5-minute swim away. Rock, could you give me one death saving throw?
Sure.
As you have very viciously overdosed.
That's
Alright.
a success, I believe.
He's raging, even unconscious.
Twitching and foaming at the mouth, still sopping wet and covered in this strange oily haze. Rock is eventually brought up to the main deck of
I don't
the
suppose I could
pending.
cast a spell while I'm hauling him back. Lesser restoration.
You can certainly do so.
Great.
All right. Go ahead and mark that spell slot off. And Rock, you are no longer needing to take death saving throws, though you are still unconscious and basically having fever dreams.
Was that a death saving throw a save or a fail?
That was a success.
Okay, just so I can
Uh,
mark it off.
Death saving throws, a 10 or higher is a success.
Okay.
Yep.
With lesser restoration, would that get rid of that necro temp damage, or
No, I don't. Well,
No,
maybe.
you
don't
need either
believe
greater
so.
restoration or a long rest.
Yes.
or a long rest? Okay, because I know it was long rest, and I knew it was a restoration, but I couldn't remember.
I think one of the really high level healing spells does it.
Heal, maybe?
I'm not sure.
Anyways. So, what do you do now?
Well, after we get him up on deck, I'm gonna kneel down, put him on my lap, and cast Aura of Vitality.
Alright, and what does that do?
A healing radius radiates from me, and everyone in a 30-foot radius restores 2d6 hit points every round. It lasts up to 1 minute.
Alright.
Aura of healing is
tapping-
really good.
Yes, it's
tapping
pretty good.
into your divine energies, you eventually you start to pour this healing energy into Rock, and at the same time, you sort of sense the taint within his blood and reach out instinctively and start to pull from near his neck a small thin stream of black liquid, which kind of levitates within the air into a small ball about the size of a ping pong ball. And with another motion, after all of it is withdrawn, you sort of force it upward, as it starts to dissolve into a silvery white dust, which continues upward until it disappears from sight.
All right.
Rock,
next
you are
time-
now stabilized, no longer overdosing, but still unconscious.
Okay. And I assume I'm healed except for the temp damage.
Yes.
Get rid of that, but keep the temp.
All right. Next time I deal with the drugs.
So, what are you guys doing now?
Sleeping.
Other than that,
I assume I'm still unconscious, right?
yes.
I'm gonna
Okay.
carry Rock back to his room, go to Shrek, remove those, what was it, 24 platinum pieces? 22?
21.
21. I'm gonna walk over to Eric and say, this should cover a new longboat, right?
I suppose.
Alright then.
Jesus Christ.
He's still gonna be looking forlornly at where the boat went down.
All right. There's nothing of your boat left aside from an inky, oily haze and bits of driftwood, along with one of the oars.
I knew I should have gotten a third one.
Rock did good job.
No, he didn't!
Let's just agree that mistakes were made.
You said Rock to smash something.
Did not!
I don't think anyone sent Rock anywhere.
He took charge. That was the issue.
Eric's will sigh and put the ship back on course.
All right. As the ship continues onwards towards its original course, the action subsiding for the time being.
Let's not tell Riku about this.
All
Next
right.
time I'll just cleanse it myself.
So, your travels are relatively calm after the this day, and in fact, you guys go about 2 weeks of traveling without anything of real interest happening. There's a few very small rainstorms. You do come across a few pieces of driftwood. But nothing particularly interesting or valuable. What are you guys doing during that time?
I'm probably just gonna go spend it with Zell.
All right.
I will keep learning from the sailors, and yeah, that's about it.
Cobalt,
I mean, I'm still eating until the food's gone.
all the food's gone?
All my food's gone.
Oh, well, this is about 2 weeks of time, so.
Oh,
What are you gonna be doing in 2 weeks?
good question. He's suddenly left with a feeling of emptiness because his work is done. He's like, what do I do now?
Maybe you could spend time with people.
Huh?
Just hang out. Have a good time.
Find
Okay.
ways to get Rock to not tackle you.
Koval will try this socializing. Go.
Roll a charisma check.
I got that.
So, in between times, spurned on by Infel, you go to socialize with some of the other kobolds. And your socialization can be summarized with the following. Whenever there's a group of like 5 or 6 kobolds, you basically try to weasel into the circle, just kind of nod and laugh along with them, and eventually say something very, very awkward before they all kind of shuffle off, apparently busy.
That was just like the time when I put beholder eyes into a golem statue that I brought to life.
They laugh nervously and have something very important to do.
Yeah,
Alright.
that sounds about right.
I'll ask Zell if his throat is still sore.
No, it didn't really hurt at all. It kind of faded from existence before he put too much pressure on. Oh wait, what about that? The mage kobold. Can I spend more time practicing with him?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll Arcana. And you and Zell basically have, play a few games when you're not doing your ship duties. You actually learn a few card tricks from them. Kind of basic stuff like making some cards disappear and very rudimentary attempts at rigging the deck.
Oh,
Interesting. I've actually been wanting to learn that, but I was thinking Raku would probably be the one to teach me that.
Cool. I got some really good practice in with him, I guess, because I rolled a 21.
Yeah.
Info's just kind of like, hey guys, look at this, I can do it too. There is one thing I wanted to do during the 2 weeks. I wanted to go to the Hidden City and see if I could buy any spells now that I have crossed some coin.
And
Spell scrolls.
what kind of spell scrolls are you looking for?
I mean, depending on how rare they are, any, I guess, because, like, I think, Jeremy is around anymore yet.
Seems to be avoiding your calls,
How rude.
metaphorically.
Oh. Oh, like, because he's the only, it seemed like he was the only magic seller, like, pretty much any scrolls he can get at that point. See what I can find.
Where are my... I'll look in library, I guess.
Minus 20 to paper handling.
Exactly.
It's these dang wings!
I know, right? They got no grip.
You just gotta
Let me...
hold the stack of paper together. With
Exactly.
wings. Hope they don't fall through.
Well, I do think there's one thing that might happen.
And what's that?
While Cobalt's socializing, I might go into his room to look for him. And find something
you
on
actually
the table.
catch him as he's... Oh, you're going to his room? Okay.
Yeah.
Looking around for him, you don't seem to find him in the main mansion, but when going up to his room, this is during the early morning, so you would have just woken up Cobalt, and you hear a knock at your door.
Oh, I thought he wants to try to get into my room when I wasn't there.
Oh, I was thinking, like, while he's out socializing, I might have looked into his room for him.
Okay. Yes, you would have sort of looked around, kind of just poked your head into his room while he was out.
Or maybe when I was in...
Or
Either
in the
or.
Hidden City, yes.
I want to examine his table and see what he's been working on.
Sure. At the current time, Do you have the small that spell tablet that was playing the music? Info.
I don't believe it's left me.
All right. It's not that. There is a small sort of continuing examination of the tablet going on. The tablet isn't there at the moment, but the machinery left over is. Can you give me a history check, Info?
Yes.
Something about this apparatus doesn't seem right. You can't exactly put your finger on it, but you can't help but feel that you've seen it before. Certainly not in this form or with these materials, but the arrangement kind of sparks some rather unpleasant memory.
I'm going to try and touch it.
You kind of poke one of the small apparatuses, and it kind of wobbles, a little bit unstable, but otherwise nothing really happens.
Are you talking about the small tuner or the real one?
The what?
You're talking about the tuner, right? Like the small one that he had?
No. This is the machinery used to in your experiments with the tuner. Not the tuner itself or the smaller tuner, but just some of your equipment.
Yeah, it
I
seems like you're carrying the tuner, probably.
Yes,
Yes,
it is. It is also some of your equipment which you used in the creation of the golem. And kobold.
Yes.
In the magic shop, owned by a rather it looks to be a grizzled half-orc man, you do find a scroll of tiny servant.
What? haven't heard of this.
Asking him what it does, he explains that it basically can turn a small object into, well, a servant. It doesn't last forever, but it does last a good amount of time.
Is it a ritual spell?
No, it is not.
Alright, does he have any ritual spell scrolls at all?
That you do not have? Let me look.
Correct. I do have quite a few. But like I have many of the level.
Mhm. You do find a spell of Skywrite. As far as you can tell, it lets you mess a little bit with cloud formations for a while.
What about?
Sorry?
What about the knock? Would be a really good spell to have.
Knock.
Yes.
You
Level 2 transmutation.
Yes, you're unable to find a scroll of it, but upon asking, he says that he'll let you copy it from his spell book for a modest price, of course.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that. Additionally, I only have so many spells I can prepare at a time. What about Alter Self?
Alter Self.
That'd be a very situation. Water.
He indeed does have a spell scroll of that. The spell scroll itself, he's selling for 350 gold pieces.
Mm-hmm.
He's allowing you access to his spell book to copy this spell for 300 gold pieces, as well as giving you full access to whatever. And by full access, of course, that means buying any materials you might need to copy it over to yours.
Okay. That's great, actually. There's one more spell I'm looking for. And that would be, Rary's Telepathic Bond. That's the 5th level.
Okay. He does not actually have any access to the spell, but he does know someone who does.
Hmm.
Of course, that other someone is the other person you've bought a few magic items from. Person who is avoiding you at the time.
Alright, fine. Sell me the locate person scroll. I don't think it would work. He has too many magic things that would be able to... Like, it's too easy to stop divination. Okay, so telepathic bond is out. I only have contingency because I found a scroll of it, right?
Yes.
Do you have any 6th level scroll?
Let me look.
Like, at all? God, true seeing is a 6th level.
Let me look through. Phil, you figured out what you're doing. Eric's, what are you doing during this time? Oh, right, you were doing more of your training. What about Rock?
So how long was I out?
You were out for a good few hours, and you eventually awaken inside the sort of hospital within the mansion. As you wake up, you
infirmary?
realize that yes, the infirmary. Your hands are slightly shaking and your whole body aches.
Do I remember what happened?
Barely. You remember going out to sea and you were angry about something, and you remember a lot of black mist. That's about it.
Can I do an insight check on myself to see if I make the connections?
Go ahead. And what exactly were you trying to do with this?
The just the association of that black mist with the increased more than normal anger and blind rage.
Okay.
Could we have set up a kind of ongoing... Anybody that's in the infirmary when they wake up, Gestalt is sent to find me?
Sure. You would have probably done that.
I mean, I've told them to do it multiple times now, so just better to just say, that's how it is. But I'll let you tell me
Kobold.
when I've come in.
After asking him for whatever he has that's potent, he eventually does speak of a rather interesting spell which he has possession of, and he's willing to let you copy for a rather high price.
If it's Dromages, instant summon or arcane gate, then
No, it's not. It's
Worth a
called
shot.
mental. The gist of it is that it's a it's some way of altering the mind to make the terrain around it look dangerous to make it stay in place.
Programmed illusion.
Mental prison.
Where are all these spells you're getting? I mean, the spell book out that I have only has the player's handbook and elemental evil. So I'm guessing you're pulling these from.
I believe this one's from the
Zathir's Guide to Everything.
Player's Handbook Deluxe. Actually, no, this is coming from Xanathar's, yes.
Okay.
The hell is a player's handbook deluxe?
It's what we have right here.
Yeah. D&D,
Oh, the name they
Deluxe.
gave. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why they named it that in Fantasy Grounds.
See, I would be using the Fantasy Ground spell list if they organized it by level.
They do.
They do, actually.
You can sort by level, but they didn't organize.
What
Or
are
I
you
need to
talking
pull up-
about?
Whatever.
Are you going by the index? Oh, that's why. Go by wizard spells.
Yeah.
Do that.
The index is just everything.
Alphabet.
Yeah.
It's
why-
meant to be just like the spell index in the book. If you're wanting your specific class spells, then, well, you go through wizard spells. And those are all arranged by level.
How do you look specifically at wizard spells?
Go to
Go into
library,
the-
click on the book, go down to spells.
Oh, source.
What source? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I went to library, click spells. At the very bottom it says source, and you can search by wizard.
Oh, that'll do it.
I don't know
There's a
what you're
create
talking about
monkey
with
spell,
source,
David,
but
or
yeah.
Dova.
I'm very aware.
I thought that was really funny.
But the spells which have been offered to you are mental prison.
Yes, I need to actually see it.
Should be able to open that.
No, I found it, but I'm just reading it.
Rock.
Yep.
Your memory still has quite a few holes in it. But you feel a very faint sense of satisfaction that you did what you were probably aiming to do in some way.
So the first thing he's going to do is mentally apologize. Or what?
Sora replies, almost disappointed. You lost control of yourself. While I appreciate your sense of agency, should you continue to lose yourself like that, I will be forced to withdraw my assistance. You understand?
Very strong nod.
Good. And with that, you can sense that she draws her attention elsewhere.
So bad, he's just gonna crack his neck and get up and head to his room.
All right. Your very well-fed plant almost seems to greet you with its very bright presence. It seems to have actually grown a few leaves. The leaves of which seem to be very vibrantly green, with very faint red veins.
He's gonna smile proudly at it. Maybe even pet it.
It feels warm to the touch.
And then he'll just sit in his room, take care of his plant, and date for the rest of the time.
All right. So, Cobalt, did you figure out which spells you wanted?
Yes. I'm not gonna take the level one.
Okay.
Because it's good, but like it requires concentration. Too many of my other spells do as well.
Fair enough. So those two others that I detailed, combined cost of 650 gold before the materials required to copy them over.
So were they? It was. He said he had a Nox.
Yes, he was willing to let you look in his spell book for 300 gold.
And the same with Alter Self.
Alter Self was a scroll that he had available.
Okay, Alter Self was a.
Yes.
I feel like there was one more.
Nope, that was it.
Alright then. Yes, I'll take both those then.
All right. Go ahead and mark the gold off, as you will spend a decent amount of time copying the spell over by basically just sitting at a small table he has set up and copying spells over. Every so often going back to him to buy more materials, some inks and various vellums.
And what was the total cost?
650. And I trust you can get the materials figured out for copying these spells over.
Yeah. So 65.
All right. Go ahead and mark all that off.
Can I purchase the materials for the other spells from him as well?
Yes, you can purchase. He has a very large selection of materials and various things required.
And how much was that?
For materials, the way I do it for like the small stuff, it basically does not cost very much. And with spells that require a certain money that specifically say a gem worth like however many gold pieces, which is then destroyed. Just subtract that gold when you cast it. However, for mundane components, it really doesn't cost much, and you can get pretty much everything that you need stored away in your component pouch for maybe a few gold pieces. So
All right, you're talking about.
go ahead and take away 3.
Okay, you're talking about the materials. I thought you were talking about the how much it costs to copy in the scroll, because you said he was gonna give me what I needed to copy in the one he had in his book. Nothing.
No, he was going to give you better access to whatever components you required, which is your normal cost for copying things over.
All right, awesome. Is there any other? Does he have any other magic items or anything like that while I'm here?
Nothing that really catches your eye.
Okay.
A lot of really sort of mundane enchanting tools, which you've already sort of have.
Okay. Man, I was really hoping for the. All right, cool. I guess I'm done then.
All right. As you head back.
And then I'm gonna spend time to copy in the scroll that I bought.
Very well. Go ahead and mark that gold down.
That's 100. That's 50 per level, right?
I believe so. If it's anything different, or is that for copying things into your spellbook normally?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe we worked out that copying scrolls cost double the cost.
Mm-hmm. All right, 200 then.
All right, go ahead. Put that down.
Cool.
Over these 2 weeks, every so often you hear the scuffle of something within the crawl space, and every time you try to investigate, Iastall, it seems, is scampered off somewhere else. Looking back in towards the space where the art was, it seems that the paintings have been removed. Although during one of the nights, you find one of the paintings set up, basically nailed to the wall, somewhat crooked in the cargo bay. And I'm going to
Who
post
does
a
that?
link. Eric's, you would notice this while doing a sweep of the ship.
I would straighten it.
All right.
For those on stream, give me one moment and I will make it visible for you.
Oh, Dova.
Yeah.
It was Skywrite.
Yes, it was. It was Skywrite.
How much should I?
Did you
I want that one too. So how much?
That was a scroll. And I
Level
believe it was set at 280.
280, and then plus 200 for the copying cost. So 480.
Yes.
Yes. So
I'll
84.
go ahead and find that again. I believe that's in
Um,
Xanathar's. I'll get you a link to it so you can add it to your spellbook.
No, I found it.
Oh, you found it? Awesome.
Thank you.
She's got some real talent.
It's much more crude than this.
I'm going to, after finding that one in the cargo hold, I'm gonna go and clear everybody out of the... Alright, thanks for joining, Kep Lily. I'll come kind of join you like we did last time, later. Anyways, as I was saying, I'm gonna clear everybody out of the mansion and put in a little thing to add a art studio. If we can ever get her out of the, you know, Jeffrey's tubes.
I mean, it doesn't.
Okay, I guess Jeffrey's hole?
Yeah, that's fair. It's a single hole, as far as you know.
Either way, I will add that to the mansion.
All right. Let me look at the notes regarding the mansion.
I think we have space for a little more.
Yes, I believe you do.
Really, we'd only need... I only imagine we'd need one of the cubes for it, so...
10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 29, 32, 36, 40. Yes. So yeah, you would have room.
What's that put us at?
43. Very close to the limit. I believe it's at 46-ish.
Out of 50, okay.
Let me count again.
I mean, he'd be counting how much there is and replacing stuff anyways. Or making things smaller.
Uh, 43.
Okay.
There we go. All
Should
right.
probably write that on the sheet. On the notes.
Yep, I did.
Okay. So with her art studio, it's at 44 or still 43?
43.
Okay. I will leave a note next to the painting in the cargo hold. Next to it specifically, so not to disturb the painting itself. Letting her know that there is a studio for her.
All right.
And then otherwise, I'm just learning as much as I can from the sailors.
Very well.
And griping about my lost longboat and sighing every time I walk past the empty mooring.
After these 2 weeks pass by, you guys are a decent way into your journey, actually. Let me update the position on the large Faerun map. You guys would have made it to about there.
That's not very far.
More like around here.
Okay. I was gonna say, we've got that's not a very decent far.
I mean, I don't mind long journeys.
I don't mind them either. It's just, you know,
I don't mind them
Don't
when we
call
don't
it a-
have to worry about.
don't call it a
It's-
decent way in when we've still got so far to go. Actually,
And where are we heading?
we need to. Okay, so first off, Dova, do I know that if we're even going to be able to get the ship through to the, I guess the Great Sea and Gulf of
Yes.
Louisville?
Yes, you are definitely able to. There's a system of dugout canals which have widened the river enough that large ships can flow through.
Okay. That Shark's Bane wall kind of concerns me a bit, but
Us to kill sharks.
yeah.
Anyways, it's a very bright moonlit night. The seas are calm, and there is a very slow but steady wind propelling you along, coming in from a slight angle. The kobold and the crow's next. Eric's. Actually, all of you are asleep at the moment. As a kobold retrieves you from your bunk, Eric's, talking about a ship on the horizon.
That's a two. That means Cobalt's also with Eric's in his room sleeping.
I'm in the captain's quarters.
Yes.
I
Correct.
sleep in there every night. But yeah,
So
okay.
is Cobalt.
Is
Okay.
Eric's is Cobalt, you are in there as well. As the watchman comes down to alert you about a ship on the horizon, which normally isn't that much of a concern. But it seems that the ship spotted doesn't seem to be active in any way. You guys are quite a ways away from shore at the moment, being maybe 100, maybe 200 miles from shore. At the current time, the ship is about 30 minutes sailing time away. It seems to be somewhat off of your direct path, as you'll pass by it.
And there's okay, so we are running through this little space between Pirate Isle and the mainland,
Yes.
and we see a ship in the distance.
Yes.
I will send the lookout to wake up the others. Always better to be safe than sorry.
All right.
Meanwhile, I will go about rousing any guards that we have and such.
All right.
I
As
assume we've
the-
had a long rest.
Yes, you guys have had a long rest. Let me fix that for you.
Yay! We're not so
Also-
close to dying.
We're not very close to dying at all. I'm the only one that took damage. Significant damage.
As the ship slowly starts to wake up into a more elevated state of alert. Rock, you eventually come to in a sort of as a almost like a quivering mess. You're over the past few days that small shaking in your hands has elevated to a much larger, much more intense degree. You're almost constantly shaking. You're feeling constantly hungry, but never full. Immediately after eating, sometimes you vomit it all back up. All in all, you're feeling terrible, and you're not quite sure why.
Oh, fun. Beautiful.
Can I cast Restoration on him again?
What level?
Second level.
As
Or
you've
lesser
seen
restoration.
him- Yeah, as you're seeing him sort of almost come down with some sort of illness, you treat it as though it were an illness, and it doesn't seem to go away. Give me a medicine check.
Okay. Medicine.
As far as you know, it is an illness of some sort, but it might need a specific cure, someone who's or specific knowledge from someone.
Ah.
Could I do a medicine check to figure out what's wrong with me?
Sure. It feels like flu you've ever had. You know the gut worms?
Yeah.
That was probably a much more pleasurable sensation.
Only
this
rock.
Yeah, this is actually terrible for you.
He's
But you're
muttering.
not. Yeah, you're not quite sure what it's from. You saw Infel, try to heal you multiple times. Some sort of disease-removing magic, but it's still ongoing.
He makes a muttering comment about, "I'd rather have the worms."
Well, there's only one thing to do then. I'm gonna go back inside the wagon and go to my altar.
Alright.
And pray to the goddess for an answer. Of course, lighting some incense.
Rock will be at the top of the ship, just feeling like crap and not
Well-
talking to anybody.
We'll get to that later. The praying at the shrine, as you all have been roused to your alert stations for a ship on the right.
I suppose this is the more pressing matter. Into Rock.
That's what he's here for.
So, the ship
He's
eventually
here for
does draw
that
closer.
and destroying my precious
Boats.
boats.
Indeed. The ship eventually does draw closer, and you can see that there's no fires lit aboard. No torches, no magical lights. It seems to be completely dark, illuminated only by the rather bright full moon.
we run
We'll go
into a normal ship, please?
Do we at least get Oh wait.
Now, you
forgot
run
to-
into normal ships, merchant ships passing by, patrol boats, things like that, with no incident. This, however, is the first ship you've seen which has genuinely aroused concern. It is off of a pirate isle, so named such because in the past there have been quite a few pirate outfits which have operated in the island chain as well as on the rather jagged coast. It's been rather calm in these past few years, and that's very easy to tell as there's not very many patrol boats in this general area, but there are rumors. Rumors, of course, that the pirates might have started operation there again.
Are there any markings on this ship?
As you get closer, go ahead and make a history check.
This one. Hey!
The markings indicate it to be a trading vessel, off of somewhere near actually where you came from. You think it might have come from Laspir. You passed by about a week and a half ago.
Okay. I will turn the ship to try and avoid. Is it coming on a direct course to us, or?
It doesn't seem to be moving very fast. The sails themselves don't seem to be up at the moment. As you draw closer, you can tell that they're tattered and have basically just, under their own weight, pulled themselves down.
Oh, joy. So it's just kind of drifting. Does there seem to be anybody on board at all?
No, as far as you can tell.
I'm gonna leave, oh, who was it? My first mate.
Gort?
Gort. I'm gonna leave him at the, wheel and go up into the crow's nest.
All right. You head up into the crow's nest, and climbing up and grabbing the spyglass from the kobold who's already up there, you take a closer look at the vessel. It doesn't seem to be damaged at all. The sails, however, are in bad condition from what you can see. They've sort of collapsed onto the main mast, supports. Their own weight seem to have dragged them down at some point in the past. There's quite a large amount of pigeon excrement on it, although there are no pigeons on it at the time being.
Is there anything else on it?
No. Nothing dramatic. You can see the very small shape of what looks to be a mop and a bucket near the middle, kind of next to the mast.
And no signs of life on board.
No.
All right. Are the others on the deck at this point?
Yes, they've slowly made their way up, still groggy from being woken up in their very nice, comfortable beds.
Well, my curiosity is definitely piqued. For better or for worse, whichever it may be. I'm gonna climb back down and confer with them, relaying what I've been able to see.
You guys know that there is a ship fairly far out, and it seems to be drifting under its own momentum. The sails are not up, and there doesn't seem to be anybody aboard.
I kind of want to investigate, but it also might be a trap.
I'm for investigating. Let's. We can either bring the ship in, but that might put your ship in danger. So let's just take a longboat with the leading members.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea. As long as Rock doesn't blow this one up.
That's fine. We have Kobold this time. He can use mending.
Wait, you want Rock to blow this one up?
No!
Too?
You do that and you are going overboard.
Careful, he might latch onto the ship like a barnacle.
Borrow up from the bottom.
I'm just getting I'm just getting a picture of him kind of slipping off of the gangplank and his armor spikes just stabbing into the side and leaving him stuck there.
That's exactly what I imagined too.
I'd of course leave him there until we get to our destination, but that's beside
Flash
the
over the
point.
front of the ship like a
Rock very loudly kind of reaches up to towards the back of his neck and smacks at an insect that might have been there, kind of scratching at it for a moment before bringing his hand back.
Well, I guess we'll go investigate. Yeah. We'll leave Gort in charge here. I'll bring up... I think at this point we would have designated one of the sailors as kind of the leader among them. I guess kind of like a second mate. Whatever, if there's an actual title for that, but... Hello?
Okay. Second in command, so like a
Kind of like
just
an
another
advisor
high
for
ranking.
Gort.
Okay, so maybe the mage? Or one of the magically talented users, kobolds.
How about
No, I was meaning one of the actual sailors.
Oh,
Somebody
okay.
that could advise Gort on things.
One of the more experienced sailors comes up to the flank of Gort, kind of watching his piloting and grabbing a lesser powered spyglass.
Yeah. And then the rest of us will head over to the other ship.
All right. As the last longboat is lowered down, and who all is going along?
I assume all of us.
Alright.
As we're lowering down, Rockwell will say, "Don't touch vials."
I think I can take care of the vials next time, Rock.
He gives you a tails thumbs up as he yarps over the side.
Well,
Rock, you're pretty much just dry heaving at this point.
Yeah.
Info will look over to Eric's for like confirmation before he goes over too.
Yep, let's get going. Kobold, you coming with?
Yes.
Alright.
The longboat starts to make its way over to the vessel in question. After 4 or 5 minutes of very, very quiet rowing, you eventually do make it to the side, and you're greeted by complete silence other than the sound of very small waves lapping up against the side of both your small longboat and the ship in front of you. The ship itself is size somewhat smaller than your own, but definitely comparable. Barnacles on the side have grown quite unchecked, it seems, and the rope ladder, which is normally thrown over the side, seems to have rotten off. The rope seeming to been the first thing to go.
Erosion.
All right.
So-
How do we want to get up here? Would I know of
Rockwood could
any?
just climb.
Sorry?
Do I know of any more standard ways of getting up on a ship without a ladder?
Sometimes there will be a set of handholds, set into the wood itself, but it doesn't seem so on this side. As you circle around, you see that there are a set on the port side.
All right. Well, we will go around and use those.
All right, you guys.
Sending
Basically
Rock
just,
up first.
All right.
Rock would have went.
Could you actually give me a strength check?
Sure, stank. Oh,
Ha!
You actually it was only Rock that needed to do that.
was it
I
a
know, I
check
felt
or
it
a
too.
save?
Check. As you
Oh.
start to pull yourself up, your arms shake and quiver. They feel weak and almost gaunt. But you eventually pull yourself up, being incredibly short of breath at the top.
He's gonna be panting. Yep. Rather have the worms. I miss my worms.
There's plenty of fish around here. You could probably get some more.
It wouldn't be hard to get his buddies back.
My buddies, the parasites. Anyways, you guys all managed to get on the side of the vessel, tying your own longship to the side through a small loop, just kind of set into the side next to the actual ladder. You find yourself on the steadily pitching decks of a quiet vessel.
I'm gonna start looking around.
All right. On the main deck, there's nothing particularly out of the ordinary. There's no like skeletons, no strange shrines. And your initial investigation of the top deck and just looking into the window into the captain's quarters don't reveal anything out of the ordinary.
And my divine sense doesn't pick up anything.
What does it pick up?
You do have to specifically activate that.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It's like a set of lenses that you look through, that you're not looking through 100% of the time.
I think
Well,
it's more of a smell, or it's kind of
It-
complicated.
Very
It's
open-ended.
different for different things.
Yes. But what does it detect?
The presence of strong evil and powerful good.
You would not sense any sort of overwhelming evil or good. It has that same sort of smell that vessels usually have. There is good, and there is definitely evil,
Well,
but
I
not very concentrated in either direction.
If there's any, I think is it
I can also-
fiends? I think it's fiends. Undead
Yeah, I
for
can-
sure, and celestials are also specifically pointed out.
Yes.
Yes. I can also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated, desecrated, or hallowed.
Okay. You wouldn't necessarily detect any of those either.
Well, I'll shrug and say, so far nothing's popping up.
Can I do any sort of check to see if there was any like recent foot traffic or activity on top of the ship?
Go ahead and make a survival check.
Survival.
So good.
Not in a long time, no.
Hmm.
There's this, the seagull excrement that was piling up is in any sort of crew it would have been cleaned away. You also wouldn't find any footprints in it either.
Based on that, would it tell me? Would I know how long it's been roughly?
You can certainly make a guess. Give me an insight check. Somewhere between 2 weeks and 2 months.
Hmm. He's gonna go off and head towards the bottom with his axe drawn.
As you reach towards the door leading into the captain's quarters, you find that it is locked.
I would have
He's
headed
gonna open
for
the door.
With the axe?
Yeah, with his special rock way.
Right.
He's gonna knock first.
You knock twice with the tip of the axe just to set yourself up and eventually just start going at it. Basically making it through the door, making it so that you can basically just smash it open with your foot, or maybe just charging through it in maybe like a minute and a half. Actually, no, not even that long. Maybe like 20 seconds.
He would have just headbutted it, but he's not feeling well, so he'll
Yeah.
use his elegant way.
He's very sensitive at the moment.
Yes.
It's like a hangover.
Eric's
But-
would be with him on this.
All right.
That was going to be my next spot. Next stop was the captain's quarters.
Okay. Inside the captain's quarters, you see a scene much like your own captain's quarters, Eric's. In fact, sitting on a small table next to a rolled-up map is what looks to be the remnants of a plate of food, half-eaten. Silverware set off to the side. There's a mug nearby. It seems to be empty at the moment. You don't see any bodies, any skeletons, anything out of the ordinary. Oh man, this music is perfect. So, what do you do?
I will be looking for through the
I'll
papers
look over to
and
Kobold.
such.
Do you have any way to detect ghosts?
Yes. I take out the candle.
Metagamer.
Hey, you didn't ask.
It is metagaming.
I asked. You
Hey,
didn't have to say.
he asked the wizard if the wizard had any way to find ghosts.
It's
There's no
a
activity on the
very, it's a very gray area,
Yes.
but almost
There's-
definitely metagaming.
There's no activity on the candle, though. When you bring it out, there's a brief moment where you think you see a little bit of smoke coming from the wick, but that's it.
I'm
who
gonna
left?
keep it out.
Okay. Would we lose?
Oh, wait.
We lost. Infel.
Wait, Info doesn't have dark vision, does he?
I don't believe so. No.
I guess I should pass out some of these flameless torches.
All right.
We have 5 people, right? Or 4? Oh,
4.
4, not including.
Rock is going to go in the corner and cast Unseen Servant.
All right.
A whisper to him, tell him to either to go and scour the ship to see if there's anybody here or if there's any of those blue vials.
All right. As almost like a slight, a little bit of mist seems to coalesce and sort of move off out of off of Rock's scales and just sort of slink off down a steep stairwell into the bottom of the ship.
Do I know he does this?
Yes, you would have seen it.
Okay.
You also would have felt the activation of some sort of magic.
Conjuration, to be specific.
You wouldn't have gotten that, but you would have known it was definitely magic.
Okay. Well, I mean, just conjuration investment. But I'm gonna say I don't know how you intend for him to report back. Can't talk.
He has his ways.
He's very good at shadow puppet.
It's Rock. Rock don't speak much either.
True.
We still do not have info.
He put in the stream chat that he's in timeout for a little bit.
Huh.
I'm not sure what he's on about.
Hello again.
Hello.
What's up?
Not much.
While you were gone, Rock sent an unseen servant to do a little bit of scouting for him.
Yes, I was listening on the stream.
So, what are you guys doing?
I'm looking through the papers on the desk.
Looking through the papers, there's a few. It seems to be all in order for a average merchant ship. They just returned. From what you can tell, they just delivered a rather large shipment to Ermslager. Ermslaspir. And we're heading back to get some ship refittings done south of the Lake of Salt, in the port town known as Del Zimmer. The captain was remarking about how it would actually be cheaper to go all the way there to get repairs rather than get it done in Suzail.
Okay.
As far as you can tell, the voyage was going rather uneventfully. Until around 3.5 weeks prior. There's a small remark in the end of the ship's log passage stating that the first mate had reported that one of the crew members was acting a bit weird. But nothing else other than that. That was the last entry in the ship's journal.
Well, I guess we keep exploring the ship.
All right.
Cautiously,
Heading down-
of course.
Of course. Heading down into the main deck. You start to look through the ship. And with the flameless torches casting a eerie sort of bluish light, you see that the interior is rather sparse. There's a large empty space in the middle where you think cargo might have been stored. The crew quarters are eerie, untouched. It feels as though the crew is just around the corner, ready to continue their journey as it was continuing before. The hammocks are stretched out currently, making it somewhat of a maze to navigate these rather dark interior spaces. Some of the sailors' belongings are hanging in small sacks from their hammock. Their shoes, some of them set on the floor neatly in rows. The ship slowly creaks and groans as it rocks slowly from side to side.
I'm gonna look through some of their belongings.
All right. As you open up the sack, kind of releasing the drawstring, it seems rather normal for any sailor. A small personal letters, small trinkets, various small belongings that they might have. You find a bottle of whiskey in one sack, and a small round of cheese and a bit of smoked sausage in another.
Are they still good?
The cheese doesn't seem to be, but the sausage and the whiskey still is.
Someone's gonna munch on the sausage, and then when he finds the whiskey, he's gonna go blech, and then throw it behind him.
Can you?
Figured Rockoff would kind of.
No, it's something else.
Oh,
Infel.
Mm-hmm.
Are you searching the below decks as well?
Yeah, I'd go with them.
As you're kind of meandering along, looking at various things along the side of the ship, you see some of the equipment, various bits of block and tackle, all cleanly organized and set aside. Behind you, maybe 10 feet away, there's the sound, the very loud sound in this silent room of glass shattering. As you sort of whip your head around, you see directly on the floor bits of glass actually stuck into the hull. Is what seems to be a broken bottle, still full of a amber liquid.
That's odd. Sniff the
Um,
liquid, I guess. Is this
It does, in
alcohol?
fact, yes, it does in fact seem to be whiskey, and all of you would have heard this. is rather loud and kind of reverberates in the ship's hold.
I'm
Rock
still
whips around.
I'm still in the captain's quarters, looking around,
Alright.
particularly for a strong box or anything.
Okay.
'Cause I
But
don't
if
seem
one
to
just
need it
happens to
anymore.
be there, it's there.
Yeah, you know, if it just happens to be there.
You would find a small strong box, not very large at all. It on one of the shelves near the captain's desk.
I'm gonna try and pull it down.
All right. After releasing it from a small catch, you remove it from the shelf, and it seems to have some sort of a coin inside.
Just one?
No, coin in the plural sense.
Okay. Alright, well, I assume I'm gonna keep looking around at the captain's quarters, seeing if I can find anything else for a little bit longer. If I
Alright.
don't find anything, I will take the strong box out, put it next to where we got on, and then head down into the hold. And I'll let you move
Alright.
on with others.
So, Rock. Yeah, everyone would have heard the glass shattering, especially Rock, Infel, and Cobalt.
Was the glass shattering not mine?
It was yours, Cobalt.
Okay, that's what I thought. Look through more bags.
But Infel and Rock would not know that.
Well, no. But that's what I'm doing.
Where did it come from?
About 10 feet behind me.
Yes. And Infel is carrying one of the flameless torches, so you would be able to see him.
I'm gonna. Okay, so Rock is going to quote unquote sneak past him towards the noise.
Okay. And Infel, you'd be able to basically watch as he quietly makes his way over, sniffing at the air. And you do arrive at the source of the broken glass, and you see the clear remnants of a bottle, as well as a amber liquid sort of seeping into the wood beneath.
He does he see Cobalt?
Make a perception check. Cobalt is fairly deep within a maze of hammocks and such. No, you would not.
Has my unseen servant come back yet?
No.
Okay.
You're not quite sure where they are.
He's gonna do detect magic.
All right. Sorry, had to yawn. As there's a very slight flash of energy within Rock's eyes. You look around and notice that you don't really seem to see any sort of magic around you. There is a very faint source from somewhere in the captain's quarters, though.
So I don't see any like Cobalt magic.
Actually, no. You would definitely see a very strong source somewhere within the what looks to be the sleeping quarters. Lots of different types of magic.
Does it smell like child?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, he's just gonna shake his head and go back.
So, figure out anything?
So we're in their quarters right now.
Yes, the sleeping area. There's a number of hammocks stretched out between various poles.
He's gonna look at Infel and just shrug and say hatchling and continue his search.
I can only assume that means kobolds.
Hmm He
since-
refers to them either child or hatchling.
Right. Huh. Well, okay. I'll look somewhere else. And there's just skeletons on this ship, or is there not even a body?
No skeletons, no body.
And no drag marks or anything.
No. From what you've seen, nothing indicating a struggle, indicating a fight. It seems as though the ship's crew has left for shore leave, and will be back any minute.
Except this is clearly not the case.
Indeed.
Well, someone set the ship out to sail with nobody on board. Odd.
Can I do a perception check?
What are you looking for?
I want to see if there was any more, like, there was no activity up there. I want to see, like, the same perception check I did up to see, like, when the last time people moved on the next floor down.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check. It's honestly hard to tell. Normally when you're doing these things, there's blood trails, there's scratch marks. There's nothing. There's nothing to go off of. As far as you can tell, this is a perfectly functional ship.
That's just been out here for 2 weeks to 2 months.
Yes.
He's gonna put his he's gonna put his axe away, and he's just gonna not be as slow as he was before, but still not being 110,000% as he was before. Just start walking forward.
Okay. The ship slowly groans around you as it continues to rock. Eric's, you're still in the captain's quarters. All right. As you guys continue to look through the ship, eventually you start making your way down one more floor into the cargo deck. Down here, it's there's little separating the interior from the exterior. It doesn't seem that this ship has a inner and outer hull, and due to that fact, this deck has flooded somewhat. The water is murky and cold. There's a faint smell of decay. It smells like a little bit of rotten food combined with mold and sort of waterlogged wood. Continuing inwards, you see nothing out of the ordinary again. And as it opens up, you see there's a large empty space in the middle. where cargo should have been, and where, in your experience, cargo is on your own boat. However, as you continue to make your way inwards, Infel, you start to smell something above that decay. Something
Above?
almost, well, that is growing to be more intense than that scent of rotten food and mold. Something more acidic.
I'll reach forward and grab Rock to stop him.
He stops in mid-step.
Do you smell that?
You don't, Rock.
Oh, I don't.
Get your weapon. There's evil about. Where's Kobold?
Wherever Rockrock left me.
You've moved on a little bit ahead. The water is about up to your knees and is fairly cold, but you pressed on anyways.
Who, me?
Cobalt.
Okay.
I'm gonna go get Kobold then.
If it's up to my knees, then there really isn't any water at all.
I mean, Rock is about the same height.
Well, yeah.
To continue forwards, Cobalt, you eventually come across a door leading into a compartment somewhere near the bow. And this seems to have been the only actual door in this vessel. The rest of the rooms being just partitions with no doors, or just an open space. It is a very Spartan ship.
That's boring. There doesn't seem to be any treasure here.
Kobold,
As you see,
Yes.
Rock and
come on
Infel
over here.
splashing through
Okay.
the water.
Cobalt's gonna awkwardly run through the water.
You almost trip forward, but catch yourself and continue sort of galloping along.
Is the smell growing stronger?
Very slightly, yes.
Let's get back to top deck. Where's Eric's?
Last you saw, Eric's was in the captain's quarters, looking through quite a large amount of papers.
All right, let's go get our Druid. Let's go get our Cobalt. I don't know what you use in fights, but be ready. Something's stirring.
I'll try.
I'm going to be gathering the various papers and maps and such into my bag of holding.
Okay.
You never know what you might need elsewhere.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead and just mark down so you know exactly where you got it from.
Is there a name for the ship?
Yes, actually. While you were coming aboard, you saw stenciled near the rear of it was Annabelle.
All right. That has been added.
Sick.
I have so many items in my inventory.
Me too, honestly.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, I'm just kind of gathering all of them in my bag of holding, looking for anything else of note that I might want to bring with me.
All right. As I believe Infel, you were going up to get Eric's.
Yes.
All right.
I'm going to open the door without any hint of subtlety and say, "Get ready."
What's going on?
I'm sensing something stirring, and it's not going to be friendly.
Okay, then why don't we leave ship and just blow this thing to smithereens?
We could do that, but we're not. But I'm thinking we either face it on this hull or on the boat as we're trying to leave.
Meh. Fine.
I'm just thinking this a larger, wider area might be better for a confrontation.
Alright.
Where's your brother?
I have
He hasn't been
no fucking idea.
He hasn't been feeling himself the past few days. In fact, he's kind of withdrawn into his room, and you can smell sickness in the air when you come close. But Gestalt has been taking care of him and assuring you that he's all right, but probably safe to stay away from him.
You know, considering we are on a ship, we might want to set up a quarantine area inside the
We do have a
mansion.
medical ward.
We've got an infirmary right next to the mess room, or whatever you want to call it.
Ah,
Yeah, so we might want to set up an actual quarantine area, just in case.
so we might.
Anyways,
How long have we been on this ship?
Never mind.
Sorry?
How long have we been?
Been on it for a good 25 minutes now.
25 minutes.
Ah,
How-
unseen servant.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, I'm reading it. Mentally command. Okay, so I'm gonna think to the unseen servant to come back because it shouldn't take that look at a ship this size.
You send out the command, but nothing seems to happen.
Ooh,
It's at this
it might
point
have
you
gotten-
realize that your connection with it has slowly faded away.
Ah, looks like something got the servant.
He's pulling. When in was weapon, he didn't, but he's pulling it out now, and he's. Can I do a perception check to see if there's anything coming up on us?
Sure. As far as you can tell, no. It's been quiet, as quiet as it was before.
But the smell remains.
I'm gonna
no,
look
now
at
that
you.
you've come above decks, it's dissipated.
Interesting. It's not coming up. It'll only stay in the ship. Meaning, we probably shouldn't get in that ship. But we may be safe to leave. Thoughts?
Smash.
I'm fine for a purge.
You know, if we do kill whatever this thing is, we could start our own little fleet.
We could, if you
I don't know
want
if-
this
I don't know if-
boat.
I don't know if we have enough people for a fleet yet.
Well, if we tie it to the back of our ship, I mean, It's not the best, but just
I think it's a
kind
bit
of.
more complicated than that.
Shh.
He wants.
I will be Admiral Zim. Or Admiral Eric's.
Is there, like, any rocks or like chunks of wood or something just laying on top of the ship?
Yeah, I'd say you'd be able to find some shims, and some pieces of just scrap wood to make patchwork and stuff like that.
He wants to take two pieces, and he's gonna chuck it down. He's gonna chuck one down the stairs, and he wants to lean over the edge. And if there's any like portholes, he wants to try to wing it into one of the portholes.
The one that flies down the stairs sort of clatters against the wooden floorboards, and that sound kind of echoes throughout the ship, but nothing seems to happen afterwards. Go ahead and give me a ranged weapon attack. We'll go dexterity. We'll just go dexterity check for the second one.
Dex, okay.
The piece of wood is of slightly like wrong shape, and so as you try to angle it inwards towards a porthole, it kind of just slaps off the side and drops into the water as it floats near the hull.
I shrug. It usually works.
Kobold, I've seen you shoot fire.
Wait, what's he trying to do?
Hey, Kobold, can you
Hello?
shoot fire?
Yeah.
Do you want to shoot fire?
Are you gonna burn up the ship?
Well, this thing's kind of decaying anyway, and whatever it's down there doesn't seem to be willing to come up to greet us.
Doesn't it just mean it's guarding something?
It might be, but we've searched the ship pretty well.
Except where it.
Hmm. Is it worth it?
I mean, I can burn it up if you want. Seems like a waste.
Well, I'm more concerned about whatever I'm sensing. But it's not been actively aggressive, I guess. But it made itself known to me.
I thought you just sensed these things too.
I did, and it came rather suddenly.
Alright, well, it's up to you guys. What does Eric's think? Oh, were you not there?
Yeah, I was not down there for it, so.
Well,
Smashing's still on the table. It's always on the table.
I don't know. I kind of
Well.
think we should just. I think. I mean, this thing is supposedly rising, and yet we've been sitting here talking, and nothing's happening yet. So.
well, I said I sensed it beforehand. I assumed it was drawing closer to us. However, as soon as we got up here, I've lost it.
Yep. Burn the ship. Move on.
Ruff raised his axe.
Well, if we start a fire, We'll either get its attention, or we'll just leave this to burn. You didn't find anything particularly desirable in the captain's quarters?
I found a small strong box, some papers and such that I filed away. The captain's log ends with saying that one of the crew members was acting strange, and that's it.
There could be a malignant spirit about.
Has my candle lit up at all this whole time, Dova?
Other than that small gust of smoke at the very beginning, no.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna burn it, we probably want to get off the ship. Well,
Yes, we hear. Well, at least I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, Rockrock will start walking towards the longboat. He's not 100%, so he's like not.
no one's 100.
Nope. But
I'm gonna throw some firebolt at the sails.
All right. They would indeed be dry, and upon throwing the firebolt at it, they immediately start ablaze.
I will grab my strong box and start heading down to the
All right.
longboat.
Rockrock perks up and starts blasting Eldritch Blasts everywhere as he's walking away.
I'm just gonna
Alright.
get on the longboat.
All right, as the longboat heads back to the mothership, you watch as the flames start to spread to the main deck as well as the railings, and eventually engulf the entire first deck of the ship. The flames reaching very high into the night sky, almost to the crow's nest. There's a small, as you're about halfway to the ship, it seems the flames have reached into the actual interior, as you see bits of flickering light inside the portholes. There's a strange sort of a sensation in all of your stomachs, almost a nervous sensation, as Kobold,
Yes.
your ghost candle emits a extremely bright green light for about 5 seconds. Slowly increases until it hits a crescendo and starts popping in and out.
Ooh.
Almost fizzling due to quite an intense flame. Until about a few seconds later, when it slowly starts to die down.
On our way back,
Eventually, only a small curling trail of smoke. Go ahead, Eric's.
on our way back, I would have started shouting for them to, for those on deck and such, to prepare the cannons, but not fully, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Basically, be on standby just in case.
All right. As the ship enters a higher
The
state
ship
of
enters
alert.
into the yawn.
Enters a higher state of alert. But nothing comes. As you all stand at the ready at the cannons, nervously, sort of shifting your grip on your weapons, the vessel, about 1,000 feet away, burns quite brightly. The sound of crackling timbers, as well as the crack as various wood supports lose their integrity and give way within the ship.
Where from the documents that I recovered, where was it? Where was the ship headed to?
The ship was headed to a port city in the Gulf of Luiran called Delzimmer.
Oh, so it's heading in the same direction we are.
Yes, it
All
was.
Yeah.
Now it's on fire.
Yeah. I will kind
Did
of...
those papers say anything about cargo?
It said that it
Was
had
that-
already emptied its cargo and was going back for... we're heading to Delzimmer for repairs. Or something.
Don't worry. We've
Service.
thoroughly cleansed it with flame.
It needs a lot of repairs.
I will make a note to... Because we'll probably stop at Delzimmer on our way out.
Okay.
To let them know what happened to it.
Rockrock's gonna think to Sora while watching the ship burn and ask, "What was that?"
She says to you after thinking for a moment. A prison. Now with its walls broken down.
Should we be concerned?
Not anymore.
He smiles trumpfully, feeling a little bit better.
For the prisoners inside had committed no crimes.
Yep, sounds about right.
Great! We are officially murder hobos.
What are you talking about?
We didn't murder any.
He's gonna think one last thing to her. It wasn't the right thing to do.
She takes a while to respond to this one.
In other words, are we murder hobos?
Well,
She
I mean, they were
eventually,
dead
she
before we
eventually
got here.
responds, saying, "In your sense of right and wrong, then yes, I suppose."
And yours?
She doesn't respond.
He seems satisfied that, and then yarfs over the side again.
Great. Hold on. Get a puke.
Gonna... Please hold while I puke over the side of the ship.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. Intestines come out of mouth.
One of my other group chats was talking about our favorite euphemisms for vomiting. I submitted expel luncheon.
I see.
I like that one. Yarf was
I'm-
always my favorite.
Oh yeah, dude.
Alright, so we're gonna get back underway. I assume that Sapra is a port city.
A small one at that. More like a small fishing village from what you can tell on your map.
Alright, what about Del Thuntal or Brasoon? Though Brasoon looks more inland than actual port, but still. Basically, I'm looking for somewhere where I think that we could put up to get a new longboat.
Could have taken one from the ship.
Anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want much from that ship, just the papers. And money, of course.
Rock probably would have sunk in on the way back. He's one You need to even that number out.
Most of these cities are small villages. Delthunul, let me look. Yes, it is a rather large port.
In that case, we
Although
will.
last you heard there was a decent pirate problem near the shores.
Oh joy. We'll still head in that general direction cautiously. I'll
Okay.
make sure that the lookout in the crow's nest is on high alert.
Meanwhile, I am going to pray to Saloon to figure out what is happening with Rock.
All right, you do precisely so. As your ship again settles into its sailing routine. Eric's. During the
42.
night. Stop it. During the night, on one of these nights, you're rolling around, sort of getting some restless sleep, and you sort of open your eyes groggily, not really in control at the moment. You look, and for a moment you think you see a hulking figure there in the dark, back somewhat slouched, facing the wall. And as you continue to think on that, you fall back into unconsciousness. And wake up the next morning, otherwise a regular night. However, you do find another painting, basically on the floor, in your room, Eric's. Whereas the last painting was a very sort of abstract figure. There was no real detail to be gained from it. This one it's different. There's much more care put into details, into defining the subject of the painting. It's of what appears to be a figure made up of small pieces of perhaps a synthetic material, maybe rock or metal. It carries a vague resemblance to the human form, or the humanoid form, but having a head with 4 large prongs, a featureless face, very, very angular, almost a box. I have a picture of it, which I'm going to post in the Rooms and Reptiles chat as soon as I find it.
It's Steve!
It is not Steve. Steve has a face, you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Greg?
Where the fuck is it? It's in this folder. Behold, the world's worst DM at work.
Well, you were a bird.
Whoa. Is that a slur?
Yes.
It is if it fits.
It's not fair. There it is.
That's interesting.
Trippy. That's cool.
I dig it.
How geometric.
The medium itself is a very haphazardly put together wooden frame with a bit of parchment stretched over it. You're not quite sure what the paints are made of, but they're lumpy. They're very coarse, very crude ink or pigment.
I didn't say the B slur. That was infel.
Yes, but you're the one who expounded upon it.
All I said is if it fits.
Meaning you didn't disagree.
I don't have to disagree.
Anyways, what are you guys doing? Especially you, Eric's. You're the one who found the painting.
I will look at it for a bit, a little intrigued, also slightly disconcerted. I will... So it's on the floor?
Yes.
I will find a spot on the wall to hang it.
All right.
It's a little creepy. She came into my room just to put that up in there, but okay. It does look cool.
I mean, it did used to be her.
Yes, but it's mine now.
Don't you know kobolds are greedy as shit?
Not greedy. Just territorial in this situation. Other than that, I will, go check the hole to see if I can find her again.
All right. Going into the and cobalt, that is good to go. Going to the hole leading into the crawl space, you see that most of the materials have been removed. The only remnants are a single painting.
And what is this painting?
Like the others before it, it's not. There's not very much detail on the figures. Not
Okay.
as much as the one depicting the one with the featureless face.
Is this the one that you posted in the chat?
Yes.
That is creepy as all get at. Okay.
Oof.
For those of you in the stream, there's the one that I just got. That one I'm going to take. I'm going to go check to see if the note is still next to the first.
The note is still next to the first, yes.
Alright. I'm going to go move it next to the hole instead.
Alright.
And then I will take this new painting and move it into the art studio that I set up for Iastall and see if there's anything that's been changed in there.
It does not seem to be anything that's changed inside the art studio now.
Okay, well, I will leave it in there. I would have made sure that it's stocked with paints and canvases. Well, actually, probably not canvases. Actually,
All right.
because things inside the mansion disappear if you take them outside of it.
Yes.
if I brought in a canvas and she used paints created by the mansion, would the canvas just become blank if the canvas were taken back out?
As far as you theorize, yeah.
Oh. Well, then it's set up with easels and stuff for her, but yeah. Paintbrushes, and she could use those. High quality stuff, but yeah, obviously no actual paints or canvases, but all the other tools. And I will leave this new painting in there.
All right. As you're doing such, and Rock, Cobalt, and Eric's, you'd all be able to see this. Infel,
Mm-hmm.
as you head out after a rather lengthy session of prayer, after you leave the mansion, the rest of you who are currently eating dinner see that as Infel leaves, the population counter goes down by 2.
Oh, joy. Well, now we gotta kill Infel. He's possessed.
You may try.
Hey, Rock. You want to smash Infel? He's possessed by something.
He first up with the word smash. It's like telling a dog if they have to go out.
Did I get any word from Saloon?
You actually did. She said to you, actually, as you were outside, as you sort of made your way up on deck and saw the sun set below the horizon and the night sort of take over. In a whispery, almost wind, you heard her speak. He is not afflicted in the way you think. The sickness is not that of excess, but that of a lack. His body, which had tasted a forbidden fruit, now craves for more, and will slowly tear itself apart until it gets what he wants.
I see.
For this I have little remedy. My powers cannot be spared on something such that can be solved with diligence.
I understand. How shall I treat his withdrawal then?
We'll leave that up to you.
It's
Very well.
official. Rock craves Tide Pods.
It's the pretty colors.
God damn it.
I can almost hear the palm slamming into Dova's face from here.
Yeah, that's about right.
Don't.
Great.
Don't eat the Tide
Rock's a
Pods.
recovering drug addict.
Great,
I
right?
mean,
Beautiful. Great.
whoops.
Awesome. Amazing. Damn it.
I guess you just gotta tough it out, buddy. Whoops.
Well,
So,
I'm
Good thing I got it out of you at least.
I will be back to my usual captainly duties.
all right.
Well, I guess I'll go tell Rock that. The drugs were in your body, and now your body wants the drugs. But this will probably pass, but it's not gonna be good.
He's gonna slam his head on like the mass, going, "I miss the worms. I miss the worms. I miss the worms."
Can you give me a Constitution saving throw?
I'm more than happy to.
Because suddenly you've got the worms.
Just gonna take it.
At about the same time, you get both a pounding migraine, and you lose whatever lunch that you had before.
Bang bang yarf. Ugh.
Hey, at least do that in the ocean.
Oh god, you see, I thought he yarfed and then he headbanged. Oops.
He's gonna look at Infel and just look at him and say, better me than the entire ship.
Yes. I suppose you're right. Good luck.
He gives you a sad tails thumbs up as he just walks away, dragging his axe on top of the ship. Sharp point down.
My poor deck. I'm about to put you in the brig.
Better people have tried. Like chemicals and fire and water.
I guess I'll go get a bucket.
I mean, fireworks last. And the time before that.
Don't remind me. Even though I reminded myself.
Now, I do have a question. Would his recall ability on his axe work if the axe is in a different dimension?
I don't believe it would.
Okay, so it's simple. We get him unconscious and strip him of everything, put all of his gear inside the mansion, and then he himself goes into the brig.
He still is Rock, so.
Yes, but we know his weakness.
He
Or at
can't
least
be-
I do.
And what's that? Fire?
Well, yes.
No, you don't understand. He'll make Kale turn into the fire elemental this time.
He gets an invert shudder.
This is all out of character, but...
Fire and lavender.
Lavender is your weakness?
He hates lavender. Lavender smells so
drowning.
clean, and he doesn't like clean. He doesn't mind
Anyways.
drowning.
So Delthuntal or that city is our next port of call? Yes.
I believe so.
And how is our travels towards there going?
Pretty well. I'd say you're making it pretty far every day. Getting about there in another week's time. But yeah, you'll make it to Delthuntal in about a week and a half past those 2 weeks. So I'll mark down the calendar exactly.
I guess I'm gonna go spend the time with one kobold that's been nice to me.
That is a
As you
great...
blow it up with Zell.
Yes.
So, as you guys are making your way to Delfuntal, the weather is somewhat choppy. The wind has picked up today, and there's a steady cloud cover. The sun does come out every once in a while, but it is mostly cloudy. Yeah, that's good. So, about half a day from making port, the crow's nest reports that there are 2 vessels on the horizon. From what the crow's nest can tell with his eyes, they are pirate vessels of some sort. And at the current time, they are in between you and the safety of the port. You've seen patrol vessels every once in a while, but there doesn't seem to be one around at the moment.
Red alert!
And while you
All
guys...
hands to battle stations.
Brr, brr. Red lights just go off everywhere. And I think while you guys mull over your options and figuring out exactly what to do in this situation, I think that would be a good place to end this session.
Aww. Right before the action?
Mm-hmm.
You
Because it's
bastard.
never fast.
Finally get us to something interesting.
Well, the ghost ship was interesting,
Yeah.
sort of. But we burned it.
You just kind of bypassed right around that. Just seen that coming.
Well then, what were we supposed to do there?
I'm not gonna say.
Anything we like. And we decided to burn and blast the ship down.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I might tell you once the stream's over, though.
all right. Well, everybody, thank you all so much for joining us. Do stick around. I am going to be streaming some Jurassic World Evolution in just a bit. Thank you all so much for joining. Please do remember to follow and subscribe to the channel. Also, check the description on the channel and the video if you're watching this on YouTube. You can see all the different places to join us and hang out, and yeah. Thank you all so much for the support here, especially to my patrons and subscribers, and of course my donators. All of you really help me make sure that this content keeps coming. Otherwise, thanks for joining, and I bid you all adieu.
Indeed. Bye, everybody.
Don't do drugs, kid.
Yeah, don't do drugs. You'll end up like Rock.
You're...
And it sucks.
I want worms back.
Or my one-armed brother now. Anyways, I was waiting for Ray's bye-bye, and then I realized, oh,
Not here.
lazy bastard.
It feels
is
so
asleep.
empty.
Yeah.
It does.
Wait, Rick only has one arm now?
No, blood brother.
Yeah.
He means Kale.
I mean Zach.
Mm.
Anyways, thank you all for joining. Stick around. I will be right back.